call the April 28, 2022 council meeting to order at 4:20. Machines open for roll call. The record show all 9 council members are present. We start on the agenda, Ms. Becknell.
Agenda item 2, executive session, there are none. Agenda item 3, proclamations, 3A. A proclamation declaring the month of April 2022 as Fair Housing Month in the parish of Plaquemines. Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer, ask for a second. Second by Mr. Blink. Any questions? Machines open. Mr. Roussel?
No.
The item passes 9-0.
Is
there anybody here with the fair market? All right, next item, please.
Agenda item 4, status report by the parish president.
There is not one.
Thank you.
Agenda item 4A, update by charter directors, 1 old business, 2 new business.
Everybody got their emails with the updates. Any questions? Or none?
Agenda item 5, bids and advertisements. There are none. 6, beer and liquor licenses.
If anybody has one, queue in, please. No, none. Next item, please.
Agenda item 7A. 7A1, would you like to take 7A1 and 7A2 in Globo?
Yes.
7A1, Port Ship Services, Inc., application number 2020-214, dated March 13, 2020, construct and maintain a personnel walkway into the Mississippi River to embark and disembark river pilots and personnel, Port Sulfur area. Councilmember Blank. 7A2, CNC Fabricators, application number 2021-913, dated December 13th, 2021, excavate pond and move excavated materials to CNC Fabricators Yard to use as fill. 701 Engineers Road, Bell Chase. Councilmember Rousseau.
Do I have an offer?
So offer.
Mr. LaFrance offers. There a second? I'll second.
Administrative reasons, could we put the,
We got a vote?
under LaFrance's name, please?
Yeah, we can.
Thank you.
Any questions? Machines are open. Mr. Roussel? And they passed 9-0.
Would you like to take B through D in Globo as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Item 7B, Falcon Crest Trailer Park Number 2, Gary Falcon, Trailer Park Renewal, Falcon Crest Lane, Triumph, Louisiana, Councilmember Konovich. 7C, J Bar, Sportsman's Lodge, Jeff Johnson, Trailer Park Renewal, Galmiche and Doris Lane, Empire, Louisiana, Councilmember Blank. 7D, Lighthouse Lodge, Joan Strohmeyer, Trailer Park Renewal, Lighthouse Lodge Lane, Venice, Louisiana, Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer, ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blink. Any questions? Machines are open. Passes 9-0. Can we go to District 1 update with the pool?
Item 11D, District 1 update, Councilmember Bartholomew.
Yes, we like to move with several of those. It'd be the David Community Center air condition, the swimming pool. We like to move with those two at this point in time to accommodate the young students that they have, and the council members wanted to address it so we can let them be removed. So let's move to the David Community Center by the AC. Mr. Epley, have any updates on that AC? Been 3 years and we still don't have it completed.
Yes, sir. The second new air conditioner for the David Center was ordered about 3 or 4 weeks ago and is expected to be completed mid-July.
And that's the last phase of that to make that whole?
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody got any comments in the audience? Okay, let's move to the swimming pool, recreation swimming pool. You have a status on that?
Yes, sir. We've gotten 2 quotes in to have the pool cleaned and have its filters, sand changed, and have it operational. We're waiting on a 3rd quote to come in. By sometime next week, we should have a PO issued to someone to go and clean the pool. So the pool will be cleaned and will be ready for use. We still do not have a CEA with anyone to operate the pool. We do not have a CEA for the grant money for the summer recreation program. That was worked on in August of 2020. And to this date, there's been no liability insurance provided so we could sign the CEA. So we've been waiting for someone to give us a direction on what's going to happen with the CEA. We also need some direction on what might happen with lifeguards. When we first started talking about the CEA, it was Mr. Bartholomew's wishes to have the lifeguards fall under the recreation program, and that the fire department was going to sign the CEA, and they were going to manage the lifeguards and hire the lifeguards. I think that's since changed, and at some point last year, we were going to take money from the grant, and we were going to use that money to hire lifeguards, and we were going to hire them under Plaquemines Parish government. So I need to know what you would like to do with that, and we'll move forward in that direction.
It never was my intention for the fire department to be in charge of the lifeguards because of the that's involved in that, and because the building, the swimming pool belongs to the parish. And the parish always did maintain the swimming pool and always did advertise and paid for the lifeguard, always did, throughout the cycle that we were working. Now, we made several attempts to see about workman comp, and no one would let us apply under the workman comp for the fire department because they already have a workman comp through the parish. And they said you can't do that. All the parish government has to do is take it and put it under their umbrella as a CEA, and it's done. And if there are any additional changes, you say that they could take it out of the grant money that they gave you to pay for the additional charges that the CEA would cause the parish to have the coverage of the CEA for 2 months. And I only talk about 2 months, and that's the way it can be done. We can't do it otherwise. It just won't happen.
That's fine. I'm happy to make that happen.
Well, I've been saying that
All right.
a long time ago.
I'm-
Told that to Mr. Lapine last year. If you remember, we sat in his office along with the fire chief for him. He pledged that we would have the pool in operation last year.
You still have to have an operator for the pool,
Yeah, I understand all that.
and we still have to sign the CEA, Mr.
Yeah.
Bartholomew.
Well, the CA with the pool was not the CEA, it's with the parish themselves running the pool. Recreation would run the pool.
We have
And-
no employees left in recreation to run the pool.
Well, hire somebody and we put somebody in. You take somebody from somewhere and let them manage the pool.
No problem.
That's what we've done before.
No problem.
And that's the problem, you see.
I'll tell you what it's going to cost, and we'll come to you with
Could it cost,
what we
do
need to
the,
hire someone to manage the pool.
yeah, do the proposal, where we're gonna get it from out of the budget, and I'll pass it. Well, I mean, I bring it up for a vote.
Happy to
No
do
problem.
that, sir.
Mr. Apley, don't we have a director for recreation and,
We have a total of 5 employees in recreation.
oh, 'cause
That's the director, the administrative assistant, and we have 3 workflow coordinators, one of which is out on FMLA. So we, in order to manage basketball, manage soccer, manage baseball, manage football, we do not have an employee that we can dedicate to running the Dave Ant pool. That's just not something that was put in the budget with recreation.
well, yeah, it said we didn't have no employees for recreation. I was just making sure, but
We have 5, sir.
thank you.
Excuse me, right one thing. We can transfer David Riley, who worked at the pump station, who always did take care of the swimming pool, and managed that for 2 months, because we did it everywhere else. Transfer, what's the matter? You got something? You want to say something? Go ahead. I'm gonna wait till you go ahead. No, you turning, you flip flop, you got mad.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not being flipped. That they got civil service issues with that. The problem with the pool is, if we want a pool, we need to fund it. We need to fund the entire pool amount and let the government do its work. Trying to find a contractor, trying to get insurance for every year we go through this for 2 months. We can't do it. The government, if you want the pool funded, if you want the pool operated like it's supposed to be operated, adopt the funds necessary to do it, and the government will do it and it'll run the pool. But this, we don't have the money. We're going to try to make it work with the volunteer fire department. We're going to try to make it work with this person. That it's just not working.
It was always under the Plaquemine Parish government. Always. Nobody else had that pool but Plaquemine Parish government. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Funded.
The funding mechanism comes from the Plaquemine Parish president. Makes his budget, put it in the budget, and tell us to do it and approve it.
Funded.
But y'all never put it in the budget. I don't have a problem with that.
Why it wasn't in the budget? Because we don't have the revenues and barely have a recreation program to begin with.
Put it in the budget, let us find it.
If you find it.
Put it in the budget.
If Mr. Eppley tells you what it takes to fund the entire pool,
I don't have a problem
he's
doing
going
it.
to tell you what it is. You get this council to appropriate
That's right.
all the funds necessary, and we'll do what we have to do to fund the pool. But,
That's all right. That's good. You done. You said it. We're going to handle that. I'm going to handle that.
Okay.
I'm going to handle that. I'm going to handle that. I'm tired of this mechanism back and forth. But now, you said it, and we'll get it done. I'm going to propose it.
I don't know what's really going on between the two of you all, the three of you all, but I know that we think the pool needs to be open. We think it's a sin for our community to be without a pool for 3 years. We know that while this pool was there, the parish found a way to take the old tomato shed and create a basketball. I don't know how that happened, but they made that happen. So I'm just saying the pool is the responsibility. We're not talking about no volunteer fire department. We're saying that it is the parish government responsibility to make sure that our children on the East Bank can use this parish pool. It was created for that. And so to hear the statement, they're saying, if you want it. I mean, that in itself is a very loaded statement. If you want a pool. The pool been there. It was one of the best pools in the whole parish. The question is why it is being elected. Why this pool being elected and trying to put that responsibility on a volunteer fire department. It's ridiculous. We just saying that we're hoping and we're looking forward that this parish, like they do with everything else, especially as it relates to stuff in Bellchase. I got to say that over and over because it seems like to me the only place where stuff get done in Bellchase. Now, somebody got to prove me wrong on that. Got to prove me wrong on that. People will find all kind of ways to make things happen in Bellchase. We're saying whatever magic you do for Emerald City, Bellchase, we need you to do it right now because our children have been 3 years without the best pool in all the parish. The other thing, the building is destroyed, and that was by hurricane. So where the funds to repair the pool, because you can't go, the kids don't have nowhere to shower. We saying all this stuff should have been worked out before then. We don't want to get into this politics that's taking place. Our community is here today. They're saying we need the pool open. What do it take? And if I'm hearing Mr. Epton saying everything is in place to make it happen, then we want to make sure that we can tell our community that the pool will be open this Sunday, beginning June the 1st or whatever day. We just want to know when it's going to be open, and so we can let our community know that this pool is going to be open, and that it is the parish government responsibility to make it happen.
Thank you, Reverend.
Good afternoon. My name is Darylyn Demal Turner. Many in this room know me as Miss Nanu. First of all, can I get your name, sir?
My name?
Yes.
My name's Ernie Beers.
Ray Beers?
Yes,
And what's
ma'am.
your position in the parish?
I'm the parish attorney.
The parish attorney? Okay, Mr. Harris,
Burris.
I don't like your attitude. And I'm sure many of you here sitting here don't like your attitude. And you're employed by the parish and you talk to us like this?
Well, first of all, I wasn't speaking to you.
You were speaking in the public.
No. What I said was, I'm trying to get you all the pool. And what I'm saying is.
It doesn't seem like you're
if
trying to
the
get
pool-
us the
yes,
pool. Not
ma'am.
the attitude you're taking up here today.
No, ma'am. The parish president had always said if the parish council provides the funding for the pool, we would operate the pool. It's as simple as that.
I mean-
it's not a bad attitude. I'm just saying that's what it takes to get the pool operate. I'm just being honest about the facts. It's not a bad attitude. I'm just saying that's what it's going to take to get this pool operational.
Excuse me.
And that's it. And Mr. Eppley will happily tell Mr. Bartholomew what that amount is going to be, and I hope the council appropriates it, and the pool will be operational. The parish president wants the pool operational, but with the funding challenges we've had, it's been an issue. And we've tried different scenarios with the volunteer fire department. We've tried, a couple of different ways to make this work, and it's not seeming like those ways are going to work. And so it's the president's belief that if we're going to operate the pool, the parish government needs to do it, and that the funding needs to be there from year to year to do it. And that's all we're saying.
Okay.
Excuse me. Can you ask us the questions?
I definitely will ask you the question. I just wanted to clear that
Well,
up right quick. I do apologize.
Yeah, if you ask us, they don't have to answer.
Okay.
Because it's not on the agenda, but
I appreciate that. But at the same time, it's not if we're going to open a pool, it's when we're going to open a pool.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not going to sit here and talk about if, because there's money being appropriated for everything else. And I've said through a lot of meetings, you appropriate money for a lot of things. Make me understand why you can't appropriate money for the swimming pool that's been here forever. During my time, that was a very operational swimming pool, and we enjoyed it every summer. And the fact that you're taking it away from our kids because, quote unquote, there's no money. But that pavilion up there in Belle Chase, that complex, is top of the line. Top of the line that we don't even really use on the East Bank side of the road, but I support it. But we can't get a simple swimming pool operating every year. We got to go through the same stuff of coming in front of you all, asking you all, can you please open our pool? It's a sad situation. And it's a disgrace to our children. And I'm really sick and tired of coming before y'all about the swimming pool. And no, I'm not going to take the water hose and hose my kids down and let them enjoy the swim. I'm not going to do that. I want to enjoy the swimming pool.
I
like
agree.
we did every other year before this. Tell me, how can we go about getting this money to operate our pool? And I'm going to ask you, Mr. Conover, since you addressed me at this podium.
well, that's the rules of the meetings, but
Right.
all John has to do is get the money and make an ordinance and we'll vote on it.
It shouldn't be all John have to do, because each one of you sitting here know that we have to fight for this pool every single year.
I have to
So
fight-
how can we come together collectively and get this pool going?
I have to fight for the YMCA pool in Burris
It's
every
open
year.
every year. It's open every year.
Because we get the money for it.
It's open. So if
And
you
I
can
bring
get
it
the money
up.
for that,
I bring it up.
if you can get the money for the YMCA pool, let's get the money for the Dave Van pool.
They had the money, they had the Y over here, but they didn't want it no more.
I don't want to talk about the Y over here. We want to talk about
Well,
getting our pool open.
I'll-
I'm tired of our children being disappointed every single year because that pool is filthy. Alligators are swimming in it. They're getting to enjoy the pool and our kids can't. Enough is enough. Find the money, operate the pool, and not just this year, but every year after that. This is ridiculous that we have to stand here every single year and fight for a swimming pool.
Well, I'll fight for the one in Burris. I had to
I'm not
find
talking
money
about
to,
fight for
well,
yours. I'm talking about what we fight for every year over here on the east.
John
side
has
of the
to
river.
fight for his pool. I'll fight for
John's
mine.
been fighting.
I
John's
fought
still
for mine.
fighting.
I went and got the money for my pool, got it fixed. I got it, I had to go find it.
So happy you did that for your pool.
I had to go find it.
But
If-
I'm standing
if John,
here for the pool in Davant. The
Well-
pool that hasn't been operated in 5 years. That's the pool we're talking about.
none of them has 3 years since COVID has.
Mr. Collins,
Nobody's.
y'all pool been working every year.
No.
Let's not downplay this situation. Y'all pool have been working every single year. Y'all have lifeguards on duty every single year. You have people working in that pool every single year.
Since COVID, they haven't.
COVID is not what we're talking about. Before COVID, I've been standing in front of this podium talking about the swimming pool.
And I went and got the money for my
Before
pool.
COVID.
I went and got the money for my
So,
district's
can you
pool.
help Mr. John get the money for our pool?
I sure will.
If
All he
you
has
got
to
it,
do is
you got the money
ask.
For your pool, I'm asking you, as a constituent, I'm asking you, can you help Mr. Bartholomew get the money for our pool?
I'll go look for it.
Thank you, that's
Yes,
all I'm
ma'am.
saying, like enough is enough. Thank you.
Mr. Roussel?
Mr. Bartholomew, you?
Yeah, no, let me see what I have to say. Because the fact is, the fact has been for 3 years since COVID, we've been dealing with this pool. We had the money in the budget to do it. But what happened was, Mr. Burry suggested to Mr. Lapine that he has to develop a CEA to run the pool with the fire department. And every time we did it, we came back 3 or 4 different times with the proposal and modified it and repaired it and wrote it all up and submitted it. Then always was something else we had to add. And the final thing was the workman comp. If you have to have the workman comp for 2 months to get the agreement signed. And we couldn't do it because the companies wouldn't do it. But the company did stipulate that since the fire department is under the Plaquemine Parish government, that they could do that. And I told them that several times. I said, well, you're going to go on and include us in the parish and we'll pay the difference. They didn't want to do it. It was just the main point of not operating the pool. Because it's always under the direction of Plaquemine Parish government, the pool, not the recreational program. The pool itself, always, because there's a possibility of liabilities involved with the swimming and the thing that it will cover. That's why it was always recommended by the different what we had. You had Mr. Duke, but Mr. Duke,
Auditor?
yeah, but not him, but the other auditor before him suggested we never do that, never take that, because that belongs to the parish and they're maintaining. And every year, if you looked at it, the lifeguards was under the direction of the Plaquemine Parish government. They was advertised through Plaquemine Parish government. They was paid for by Plaquemine Parish government. And that was the whole problem in a nutshell, was the CEA was the workman comp at the last minute. And the Chief Brock and I met several times with Mr. Lapine, Mr. Burris, and also with Mr. Epler. In the last meeting, he said last year, it was right about this time that he would have that pool open regardless. Kurt Lapine said he would have that pool open, and it never materialized. And that's a fact. I have no reason here to lie about that. And if he said that if we appropriate the money, they're going to put it in, we're going to do that. Now, the only reason why we kept running it, because the Y wanted to charge the children to participate. And the Plaquemine Parish government was giving the Y $300,000. Now, do you think students need to pay after you took your $300,000 and paid them to provide the service? Do you think the Y need to do that? That's totally corrupt, as far as I'm concerned. And then when I got $50,000 out of the budget, they got mad. The Y did. Came and stripped that center of all the weight material, the lifting machines, and everything. And that wasn't for them. That was not for the Y. Because that was already put in place, but they didn't say anything about it. So what the problem is? The problem was that the administration refused to accept the fact that they need to step up and get it done by any means necessary. Now, that's what the power is. Now, we appropriate, you put it down, we appropriate. I work to get it done. But I can't fight 3 different angles. How you going to fight 3 different angles and survive when you won? Look at it. Look at what goes on. Hog for Cause came to Plaquemine Parish in Belchase. They found money for that. Right there in Belchase, so all kind of money for that. But they can't find money for a swimming pool for the children on the East Bank. Taxpayers. I can go down the road and tell you more than that. What didn't happen that they did. But they don't care. And always making excuses. It's not about excuses, it's about what's right and what needs to be done. I will draft up the legislation and get it done. Now, make sure y'all here to convince your colleagues to vote on it, who y'all have friends with on the council. Sorry about this outburst, people. I'm truly sorry.
No.
But this is disgusting. It really is. It irks me. I have never witnessed like that in my life. Sit there and lie about stuff.
Well, nothing I said was a lie. The council had not adopted enough money for the Plaquemines Parish government and the administration to run the pool program all in-house. If we had enough money all in-house to do it, we would have done it. That's the way we've always wanted to do it. But because there wasn't the money, this other arrangement was suggested with the volunteer fire department, et cetera. And anytime we outsource something to a third party, yes, they have to have liability insurance, and if required by law, they have to have workers' comp. That's done with every contractor we have. So it's not any onerous burdens Rennie Beerus was trying to put on this project. That's what it is, because Plaquemines Parish government has no control over those workers, over the people who are putting the chemicals in the pool, or, whatever it may be. So we were trying to make it work because this alternate suggestion was proposed to us. And apparently the volunteer fire department could never muster up the insurance or get the workers' comp, or for whatever reason it didn't work out. And that's where we are. But that's not the administration's problem. If the government had appropriated the full amount of money to run the pool, we would have taken it on and we would have done it. But the money, as you know, has to be in the budget. And that's what Ms. Stapley and I, that's what we've been saying.
Mr. Beers, is it so or not that the Plaquemines Parish government, can subsidize the fire department to include the recreation program for 2 months under the workman comp program? By putting it into the program on the workman comps.
It's hard for me to say, because I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the volunteer fire department does. I know we give you all a grant, and you all operate that grant and do special programming that you all want to do. That special programming is something completely and totally different from the volunteer fire department managing a pool where they're actually hiring lifeguards, who are gonna, it's very dangerous. You got to be certified. That it's not the same, Mr.
I'm not talking about the pool, the lifeguard. That's a parish responsibility. I'm talking about recreation itself. Now, the point is, you don't know because you never looked into that. But I have, and it can be done. So I suggest you strongly look into that and see whether or not that could really happen, where we can subsidize those 2 months that those people are working for that recreation program to get the workman comp that you are so much demanding.
Well, one thing I can tell you that's not accurate to say is that the volunteer fire department is under the umbrella of the Plaquemines Parish government. The Plaquemines Parish Volunteer Fire Department, well, the East Bank, I forget what the official name is a separate, owned, independent entity created by state statute. And they are only allowed to do certain things that are authorized to them to do by statute. They're their own entity. So it's not true to say, because I think this was said earlier, that somehow they're under our umbrella and they receive all the protections and all the, they're authorized to do all the things we're allowed to do. They're not.
So they're not in covenant with insurance by the Plaquemines Parish government? Okay, thank you.
They have certain protections, but only for the duties that they're authorized to do under the statute. They can't go off and just do anything and everything they want and claim protections under our insurance. They got to be fighting a fire.
All right.
They got to be engaged in firefighting. It's totally different than what we're going to ask them now to run a recreation program.
I'd like to request that you get an Attorney General's opinion on that.
I'll work with you and Mr. Garrett, and we can come up.
You handle it because you know what you need to look for.
Well, no, I want to know specifically what you want to ask them.
Just what I just told you.
All right. Well, we'll work together and we can get an opinion.
And get it done. I can sell all of that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
My name is Elizabeth Williams. I'm from Phoenix, Louisiana, and I'm listening to everyone. I hear everything everyone is saying. I want to know, number one, the money. How much money would it take to fund this pool? Because I'm 50 years old, and the same things that my parents are fighting for us to swim at the pool is, I'm fighting for my kids right now. So I want to know about how, can we get a number or something?
John, do you have a number, or does anybody?
No, all I can tell you, what we did, the lifeguards were like $8 an hour. That's what they paid them for that. And at times 10 was the most, and the latter years were 8. And they was working the 40 hours a week. So you about that time 8, and that's what the number will be. The chemicals, a lot of that was donated. We got a lot of the chemicals donated. Just as the fire chief got the chemicals donated this year from Stone Haven for the pool. So all those were donated. So the only thing that they had to pay for was the salary of the lifeguards out of that.
Okay.
And normally we was getting 50,000, and we subsidized that by letting them take the money, some of the money to pay for the lifeguard salary that we would give the parish to leave in the budget for that. And that's the only thing we had to pay. We had to pay for no water, no breakdown, anything else. And that's the only thing. So
So the only problem is the lifeguards.
yeah, the lifeguard, and they're gonna have to hire somebody to manage the pool. Other than the daughters.
And the pool will be fixed.
I don't know anything wrong other than being clean.
Clean, yeah, I know the alligator situation. I know about that.
Yeah, I mean, just tell me to just clean it, yeah.
Okay, all right, that's all. I just wanted to know what the monetary.
But I'm gonna find out and let you know. I'm gonna call the office over there, the
Okay,
finance department, to find out exactly what it was for the lifeguards and the pool, upkeep of the pool.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Blink?
Sure. This is a question for the attorneys. If some youth goes swimming in the river and something, God forbid, happens to them, would the parish government be liable for not having this pool online?
I can't imagine there's any liability for not providing a swimming pool. You could have liability for providing a swimming pool, because then you're obligated to operate it in a non-negligent manner, et cetera.
Thank you.
It may be involved like a discriminatory
You done, Mr. Blink?
action of not providing a service, become discrimination.
Mr. Blink?
Oh, no, yield.
Mr. Roussel?
Yes, this issue's been going on for several years, as you've heard from the earlier testimony. And, at the end of the day, it's whether or not the administration wants to push this and get it done. I think that if they would come to us with a reasonable figure in the beginning of the year, and we would appropriate the money, it would be operating. But as has been said earlier, there are all kinds of fairs and festivals that we put employees on the grounds to manage those fair and festivals. And for whatever reason, the pool has not gotten the attention that it deserves. And so if you want it to happen, it could happen. It takes a leadership to be able to push the issue if you want it to happen. And I think Mr. John has been fighting this battle, but I think he's getting curveballs thrown at him pretty regularly and keeps going to the plate. And unfortunately, he keeps striking. And I'm hoping that, we can get the reasonable number, which I remember probably for the salaries of the lifeguards, somewhere in the neighborhood of $18,000 to $20,000 a year, was what I recall. And I might be off, but it's been so long since we operated the pool. But I think that we could get the pool operating. But you got to have the willpower and the want to do it. And, it's really sad that we have children on the East Bank that have very little to do. And I know people shake their heads, don't understand what I'm saying, but if they want to hear it, I'll be glad to tell it to them. But some of them in the back will say, it has to happen, okay? Yes, you're correct. So I would ask the administration to come forward with the number. And go ahead, Mr. Abley, I see you jumping.
I'm happy to come forward with a number, Mr. Roussel.
You got an idea what it would be?
And I've had several conversations with Mr. Bartholomew about this swimming pool. And I don't get straight answers from Mr. Bartholomew. So when Mr. Bartholomew tells me exactly what his wishes are, which I think we just figured out tonight, that we need to come up with a budget for the swimming pool to operate it, hire lifeguards, and have someone manage the pool, we can do that, and I'll certainly do that. I believe in 2019, when we ran the pool, after I got it repaired, it was somewhere between $50,000 and $70,000 is what was budgeted for the pool. That was for chemicals and for utilities and for lifeguards, and I don't remember what else. But I will certainly go back and look at what the budget was and what we actually spent. And I'll come to Mr. Bartholomew with what the number is that we need, and we'll try to hire somebody that can manage the pool, and we'll try to hire lifeguards. I will get the pool cleaned. I have the quotes that we need. I've got one more coming in, should be next week. But I'll be issuing a PO to somebody to go get the pool cleaned and change the sand in the filters, and we'll get it done.
And you have the money to do that now?
I do not.
Would you?
We don't have crews somebody that could do it?
I'm sorry?
We don't have people in-house that could pressure wash a pool or clean sand out of a pump?
The problem is you have to have a professional service come clean the pool, especially with the proximity to the river, because if you drain the pool and you don't have someone that knows what's going on that's dealing with pools, you could have the possibility of it popping up out of the ground and damaging the pool. So if we don't have a professional company do it that's licensed and insured, then we could have a serious problem on our hands with cleaning the pool, because it could turn out really bad.
Well, let me just finish my comments, because one of the problems that we're going to run into is that the cost that's going to come back so expensive, it's going to be prohibited to find the money. So I think that you heard earlier the chemicals were donated. Those are kind of creative things that we are looking at. And I guess Mr. John has been trying to be creative with the fire departments and all over the years. And I've met with the fire department. I see the chief out there now. We've talked about it many times. It just doesn't seem to come together. And I would hope that we can do it and make it happen. Are you?
Yeah, John, you're exactly right. I'm always attending budget hearings, and I was there when the YMCA didn't want to do the East Bank. And I'm gonna say this: I live on the West Bank, but listen, that's a Plaquemine Parish pool. It just happened to be on the East Bank. That pool is for every kid, adult in Plaquemine Parish. It's just not an East Bank pool. And I see people from the West Bank, even St. Bernard, go to that pool. So we got to stop looking at this. We're going to punish the East Bank. All you council people up there, I guarantee you, almost everybody in your district, well, not everybody, but some people in your district have visited that pool because they couldn't afford to pay the YMCA fees. So we need to make this work, guys. We got to make this work. We got to make this work for the people. Every year we come with the same problem. We don't put it in the budget come November. Come March, April, we're dealing with the same problem every year. But it's just not for the East Bank. It's for the entire parish. And people need to start looking at it like that.
I agree, Mr. Henry. I voted for everything Mr. John ever put up.
When they first opened the Day Event Center, I used to was the project manager for the YMCA in Port Sulfur at Day Event, the pool. We have never had a problem with the pool until this administration came in. Every administration before this administration was in, that pool was open. We had, and this thing about the river and all this dynamic about the river, that river was there when the pool first opened. And we never had a problem with trying to find somebody from Mars who have expertise, because they got to understand the relationship between the river and the pool. All this stuff, this is the first administration in the history of having this pool that haven't been dedicated to making this pool work. Every other administration, got the chemical. Every other administration, when the pool or when the pump broke, because I was the director, I can tell you, got it done. It was just a matter of phone call. We had YMCA from Belchase, kids coming over there and using that pool when I was with the Y. So again, this is the only administration on record, and I want to say that loud, who haven't had the dedication and show that they were concerned about that pool. This is the only administration. And I'm speaking from direct experience. Because every other administration, we will make a call in advance, that pool was dealt with. That pool was dealt with. The chemical, all those things. It is insane for anybody to talk about using the volunteer fire department over recreation. That was crazy. Because that shouldn't have never happened. I appreciate what the volunteer fire department tried, but that never was supposed to be their responsibility. This parish is responsible for Plaquemine Parish Recreation, and the children on East Bank is a part of Plaquemine Parish Recreation, regardless of what the director of legal service say. And so again, we got to hold this administration because it is the only administration in the history of this parish since that pool been in, haven't showed any dedication for that. The hurricane has torn down, the roof is all messed up. It haven't been fixed yet. I called Ms. Deputy and said, we come here, I'm hoping you bring everything you need at the meeting because I don't want you to be blindsided. I don't want you to be blindsided. I called Mr. Mathalamy. After I got off the phone, he was the next person I called. Then I called some other people who could help us with funding that we get in the project. So we got people on standby ready, help us in all kind of ways. The people that's holding this project up and the entity that's been holding this project up ever since the beginning, it's been this administration. It's been this administration. And one thing I've learned about this administration, everything is around legal. I've never seen an administration hide behind the law like this administration. I don't know if because my man here is the president, he's over legal, and that give him more power than the parish president, because it seems like he got more power than parish president to me. Because if you make everything legal, then who's in charge of legal? Then he'll be more powerful than parish president. And if he really wanted to make it out with all his legal expertise, we wouldn't have to. Stop the foolishness. Stop the game. We're too intelligent for that.
Thank you, Mr. Reverend Edwards. Mr. Bartholomew?
The chief wanted to make some comment,
Can I interject something?
and that's all.
President Legal? Randy?
Yeah, I'll just respond. This isn't a legal issue. This is a financial issue. And I know Mr. Edwards says we're the only administration who's had this problem. We're the only administration that's had to cut out several departments out of the entire budget in order to balance the budget. We have to do our budget based on revenues that the government receives. The council can go into fund balances and pull money from other places and fund things that they want to fund. And so we have the tightest budgets that ever existed.
Y'all can't do the same thing?
Not when we're adopting, not when we're creating.
Y'all can't go into different funds and pull money?
No, we have to balance our
Y'all
budget.
paid the Orchard study. We didn't vote on that.
That was adopted. That was part
No,
of the adopted
we
budget.
voted against that.
Well, listen.
We voted against it. Y'all
It's
took the
not
money and did it.
well, the comment was directed to me as if like legal, like I'm back here holding up the Davan Community Swimming Pool. That's not the issue. The issue has been financial, and this administration and the parish president has said all along for the funds to appropriate the funds, and we'll run the pool.
Who appropriated the money
Roussel?
for Hawk for Cars? How we got that money to do what they did? The Hawk for Cars last year.
Hawks for Cause
Wait.
No, they ain't paid up front.
fees.
They didn't pay
And
up front.
second of all, it's solid waste, folks. It's not. We don't have lifeguards laying around. If we had lifeguards laying around, you have to be certified. So if we had certified lifeguards in the government, that would be a different issue.
Oh, we took all the surplus soil that we had to put over there that should have been used for protection of the water, the flood on East Bank, the sand that was hauled over there to fill in all what they destroyed, and we had to put up the funding up money up front to pay the labor to do those things. So we found money to do that. Even though you may have gotten some of it back, didn't get it all.
Mr. Roussel?
Yeah, Rev, one thing that you brought to mind, you got a very, very good point about the legal department because the parish attorney has an enormous amount of authority. However, I want you to recall that during past administrations, especially my administration, I never would appoint a parish attorney. I would always appoint assistant parish attorneys so they would not have more authority than the president. And that was a key thing that you just recalled. And so, you jogged my memory, and that was the reason why I didn't appoint a parish attorney.
I know what I'm saying, I've been dealing with this government with
Yes, Chief?
That's a fact.
I'd like to apologize for coming, first name, my name is Clarence Brooks. My address is 156 Crossover Lane, Phoenix, Louisiana. I'd like to apologize for coming in at 5 o'clock, but I thought the meeting started at 5. Evidently it didn't.
That's okay.
I called in the last part and they say it's a financial thing. In 2021, it wasn't a financial thing. It was the power thing. We was told, the fire department, we've been doing it for over 20 years, off and on. When the Y took it, we had to let it go. And then the parish took it, we had to let it go. Whatever, and now it's back to us, as far as I know. But if there's a problem with the fire department running the recreation part, helping with the recreation, because we don't run the recreation, we do a lot of volunteer work. All our work is volunteer. Let us know, we'll step down. My main purpose is to get the kids a swimming pool to go to, trying to get the weight room open on at the center, and that's impossible. We only need one person to hire to work the weight room for 4 days, 4 hours a day, and they don't even give us a key for the building. So it's a power thing. And in 2021, it wasn't a financial thing at the time because the council was still giving us the money to run the summer recreation. So they made us go get legal. They made us audit. Remember when they audited us, and everything came out good. Everything was accounted for, so that was no problem. Then they made us trying to get workman comp. So we worked to get the workman comp, and then they made us get liability insurance. So we got the liability insurance, but we couldn't pay for either one of them because they didn't want to let us have the money. And from what I was told by Mr. Badalami, that the council gave the parish the funds. They never turned it over to us. So we couldn't buy these things. Then they said the pool had a pump broken. The guy fixed the pump. I wanted to fix the pump myself, but they said you got to be a licensed plumber. And the same thing that he did, I did. I could have done. But they put out a bid, and they got the licensed plumber. I went there and worked with it, watched him, and I said, anything you need, man, I'm here to help. He said, man, I got it. He came on a Saturday in his dress clothes. He was about to go golf or something. You can't make that money right fast. But he fixed the pipe, and then they said, the pool got to be drained. I said, well, that's not a big deal. We got guys that work for, Savon Trent.
Don't you have pumps at the firehouse that you could?
We could pump, that's not a problem. We could pump the water out.
And fill it. And fill it.
And pump the water out. So everything they came up with, we jumped every hurdle until it got to a point that said, we got to have lifeguards. I said, okay, our lifeguards are college students. That's their little money they go for when they go to school. What they did, they said the lifeguards got to get training at our gym, at our pool. They couldn't go somewhere else and get the training. So they block us every time. Everything they came up with, we found an answer for it until it got to the lifeguard part. The pool, they never give us the money. So we needed the chemicals. I said, we could drain the pool, put the water back in there, and we get the chemicals. And they didn't want to give us the money to buy the chemicals. I went over to Stokehaven, the man gave me money just like that to buy the chemicals to get the pool started. And if we'd have had the money, we would have got the pool running. We can't get the weight room open. And if I'm telling a story or not telling the truth or stretching a little bit, stop me right now. So, but that it wasn't no money thing in 2021. Now 22, it might be a money thing. It's a different story. I don't know if the council is going to give us our budget like we used to have it, or take it from us altogether, or whatever. If they give us y'all give the money to the parish again. The president and his crew, let us know, because
the last 3 years, y'all say y'all give us the money, we haven't seen it.
Didn't we put it in the budget, John?
Yeah, it was a budget, but because we didn't have the program, the money was utilized somewhere else.
I can answer that question. The money is in the budget. There's $25,000 in the budget right now for the summer recreation program. We cannot legally issue that money without a CEA. And that's the same thing that we do for every grant in this parish. We have to have a CEA. So the CEA needs to be signed with the Point LaHash Volunteer Fire Department if they're going to manage that $25,000 grant. In order to do that, we need liability insurance. So if you got liability insurance and you have proof of liability insurance and you're ready to sign the CEA that you and I and Mr. Burris and Mr. Bartholomew sat in the conference room and talked about, and we sat down and took notes and we did everything that Mr. Bartholomew asked for in that CEA. One was for them to provide the lifeguards. And then when he found out that they needed workman's comp insurance, then he said, well, let the parish provide the lifeguards. I don't care who provides the lifeguards or how we work it out. I'm happy to work it out. But we got to get a CEA signed. We got to have proof of liability insurance. And yes, the money is there. That's what we need to get it done.
The question is, did we do that in 2021? Yes, we did.
In August of 2020, we drafted the CEA. We have not gotten proof of liability insurance since August of 2020.
Give us the money, we'll give it for you. We'll get it for you.
We need the proof of liability insurance to sign the CEA.
We can't buy it without the money. That's it. If y'all give us the money, we'll do these things.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Blink?
Sure.
Mr. Roussel, you finished?
Little chicken and the egg, though. I mean, if the funding's not there for them to purchase the insurance, they can't purchase the insurance. It just, I mean, what's the cost of the insurance, and can that be sent over in the difference held into
I don't know, Mr. Blink. I understand your point. There's been a lot of money that's been funneled through the fire department over the last several years. I don't know what their finances are. I don't know what it costs to get the liability insurance bound so we can sign the CEA and they can get the grant money. But that's something that we can look at. Look, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get this pool open.
Okay. Thank you.
Come to the mic, man.
I don't guess we got any rules of order.
Call for it.
Can we run the day event swimming pool through the parish government?
Yes, ma'am.
They own it.
Can we run the day event swimming pool through the parish government?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
How can we do that?
I'm going to put together a budget. I'm going to bring it to Mr. Bartholomew. He's going to ask the council to approve it, and then we're going to run it.
So we have people that can run that swimming pool and day event.
We do not currently have
So we're going to
people on
find
staff.
people to run that pool and day event.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it going to happen before Memorial Weekend? Our kids get out of school on May 27th. Will our pool be operating Memorial Weekend?
I can't say if that's going to happen or not.
Can it happen?
Civil service does all the hiring. We have to go to civil service when the funding is in place and ask them to hire lifeguards. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to hire lifeguards or certified lifeguards. I'm sure if you know someone who is a lifeguard that's certified, it would help if you would send them to civil service, and we'll get it going.
Okay, one more question. We went through civil service before, and we had to go to civil service meeting, and we had to fight the civil service board about making sure our lifeguards were qualified. Do we have to go through that again?
I would imagine we do.
So it's going to be clear cut, like they're going to give us exact stipulation on what needs to be done, who can get hired, and then we can move forward.
We can ask civil service, ma'am.
One last question. Do you have the money to operate the day event swimming pool beyond this year so that we don't have to stand up here next year for the same thing?
We don't have the money to run any of them next year.
Will you have the money?
It will have to be put in the budget at the end of the year, ma'am.
When does it have to be put? When does the budget?
For budget hearings in November.
November.
In November?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we should be here in November to propose our day event swimming pool?
Your council member can do that.
Okay.
Mr. Roussel?
No, let me say this. I believe we should have a budget review now.
I agree. You can amend the
Because
budget.
we are coming up to mid-year, and the budget is nowhere near what it needs to be, and we need to review it. And I'm not talking about a full-blown budget hearing, because the finance department says you can't have a budget hearing because we don't have the books closed out. But we can get year-to-date expenditures, and we should be looking at that now. And I would ask the chairman to set that up, to have a budget review, and not call it a hearing, but have it a review, because there are a lot of questions that we need to be answering before the end of the year, because we will be leaving, three of us will be leaving at the end of this year, and I would not want to be in a position to where, when I came in 2015, to give somebody a budget that is coming in new, as they gave us a budget that we inherited, which was totally bogus.
Kim, can we set that up? Yes, thank you.
Okay, and how many people do we need to operate the swimming pool?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, ma'am.
Okay.
We need at least eight
8?
lifeguards, and you need a supervisor.
So 8 lifeguards and a supervisor. Gotcha. And they have to go through civil service. But if they're already employed with the parish, if you find somebody to work that's already employed with the parish, we don't have to go through civil service, correct?
If they certify.
Right. I'm not talking about lifeguards. I'm talking about the operating.
For the director?
Yes. So we can get a director going, then we
Yes,
can get a ball
he
rolling.
can, yes.
So finding the money, then finding a director. First of all, getting the council to approve the money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then finding a director to run the pool.
Yes,
And we can
ma'am.
do that with somebody that's already employed in the parish.
Sure.
And then we can work on getting lifeguards.
Yes, ma'am.
So in 2 weeks, we should be able to come back here before the council and say, do we have the money to run the event swimming pool? Because that's the next council meeting, correct?
Yes, he could introduce it at the
In
next
2
one.
weeks.
And
So we're gonna work on, starting tomorrow, we're gonna work on this.
Oh, he's got the money already? He knows?
Drafting it up.
All right.
The legislation will be voted upon at the next council.
He's introducing it today, and we'll vote on it next month.
Absolutely. And also, you mentioned about the bidding for repairing the building itself, because the roof is caving in. You said you had 2 bids. Can I ask him he has 2 bids?
The
I'm
quotes
sorry,
I
he has
have,
2 bids.
Yes,
You have
ma'am.
2 bids for the building itself, and you're waiting on a 3rd bid.
Is that right?
no, ma'am. That's not correct. The quotes I have are to clean the pool.
So we don't have to repair the building.
No, ma'am, we do not.
Is that in PW for the IDA?
It's in a damage assessment, just like everything else is. They don't become PWs until after money is obligated for it. So the way this works is the parish government has to put forth the money for the repairs, and then we have to ask for reimbursement. And that has not been done, no, sir.
Can we get somebody to give us quotes on that?
Absolutely.
So that's gonna be another holdup, the building itself. Okay. I was just wondering, because I know that needs to be repaired.
But we could use the pool without it. Just,
I don't think we can use the pool without it, but then maybe you should take a tour of the pool. Maybe y'all should actually drive over there and look at it
I've
and
seen it, and
go inside.
I never went inside. It was
Go
locked.
inside.
But there's no other way to get in the pool.
I mean, you gotta take a shower and stuff, because there's protocols to get into the swimming pool.
We could put a water hose.
We're not gonna talk about that water hose, but thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Brandon Cross. I live at 15747 in Devat. And my heart is overwhelmed just listening to the people of the community, because we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. When you look around and you see what's happening around here, we got a highway with beautiful strips on the road, but you got potholes all through the road. And that's just a piece of what's happening on this evening, and people are just getting tired. I had a leak at the church, and it took over a month for them to come and repair the leak at the church. I had to go find the leak my own self, and the people are getting treated and not worrying but if the people are living or not on this side of the river. They act like the river is dead. This side of the river is dead people over here. So my comment is that you hear the passion from the people because the passion is there because they're getting sick and tired of being sick and tired when a hurricane just passed up the mountain and the river. We got to get out of here because of the whiteness. You can't stay here no longer. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's all I have.
Mr. Bartholomew, you done with District 1 update?
No, but I'll come back to the rest of it. No, I have one concerning Mardi Gras Pass. These gentlemen are here concerning Mardi Gras Pass. So we bring that up.
All right.
Discussion item 6.
Mardi Gras Pass. Yes, I'm for closing it, but anybody else want to speak on the?
Does she need to read it? Does Stacy need to read it?
Huh?
Good afternoon. My name is Glenda Miller. I live in Devant. I'm a fisherman, and Mardi Gras Pass is killing my way of life. I just had to replace my transom on my boat and buy a new motor because I'm running ground. Every time we try to go out, we running ground. So we need the main waterways open up. We need Mardi Gras Pass closed because it's killing our way of life. And we've been fighting and fighting for this since Mardi Gras Pass happened. And y'all not doing anything to help us over here.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Danny DeMall. I've been in the oyster industry for the last 40 years. Over the last 10, I've watched what Mardi Gras Pass has done to our industry. All the coach seed oysters that was in Bay Gardine, Black Bay, American Bay, there's none. If the council and the parish don't open their eyes now, in the next 5 to 10 years, oysters will be like caviar. You won't be able to afford them. Mardi Gras Pass is the thing that needs to be closed. Supposedly there's funding for it. I don't know why it's not closed yet. But like I said, go take a look at it. You know, at one time we did 60% to 80% of all the oysters that was produced in Plaquemine Parish out of Point LaHash. To go from that percentile to 0, open your eyes. There's only oysters east of what used to be the Mr. Go and west of the Mississippi River. There's none down here in Plaquemine Parish. So unless you address that, and that includes the shrimp, crab, and fish. If you don't address it now, mark my word, 10 years, we won't have oysters.
Well, I've talked to the COA and CPRA about it, and that's the fight. And I agree with everything y'all said. Mr. Blink?
Yeah, sure. What are the parish's plans for that? It looks like within the parish's efforts, there's plans to manage the outfall area for land growth and not close the pass anymore. I've actually had this on the agenda to put the administration on the spot to give us a clear direction of where we're going. Helmers isn't here today, but it would be nice to know what the intentions are of the administration to manage it for land growth, because clearly there's bayous filling in. You know, it's building land. People are ripping their motors off the back of their boats, passing where they've always passed. Or are we going to go the direction of seafood production?
That's not something that I'm aware of what direction we're going in. That's going to be something we'll have to ask Mr. Helmers, the coastal director.
Got it. And,
Is he working today?
you know, now Mardi Gras Pass is the smaller distributary on the east side of the Mississippi River. Across the river from Buras, there's a large distributary where the river is in the process of having an avulsion, where it's starting to short circuit out of the main channel going straight into Quarantine Bay. There's about 95 feet of water in that cut right now. I've been calling it a avulsion pass. It's quite large. from the air, it looks like you're looking at Pasalutra. It's significant. You could bring any ship in the river through it without restrictions. It's probably moving about 1/3 of the river's capacity today. I can't seem to get anybody on the phone. It's about 95 feet deep at the river. There's consistently 45 feet of water back to
Who
quarantine.
would you like to get on the phone, sir?
What's that?
You said you can't seem to get anybody on the phone. Who would you like to speak to?
Anybody at the Corps of Engineers or anything like that. You know, they're managing the lower river. They have about a $500 million budget for dredging and making sure navigation happens where it needs to happen. And the thing is, like, look, I'm wearing a couple different hats, right? I, as a resident, I want to make sure there's significant land around my house so we can make it through hurricanes. You know, the floodgates in Empire closing every time the wind blows hard. And, you know, on the other side of things, you know, I'm thinking about this through the lens of, I'm a port commissioner here. This is the 14th largest port in the country by weight, and the Corps of Engineers is letting the lower river slip away from them. You know, they have an extremely large budget. They're an organization that can't change very nimbly, and we need to be getting in a seaplane with them and showing them what exactly is happening. Unlike Mardi Gras Pass, that has a really well-defined distributary network of canals and bayous and bays that this water has to filter through before it's deposited. This one near Buras, there's just nothing keeping the river from going through, right? It's a straight line from the Mississippi River out into open water, and it's increasing daily. I'm talking about like eating up like 2 feet of this old remnant levee over there every day. Now, you know, when the scientists were telling me about Mardi Gras Pass earlier, I really didn't want to believe them when they say it was going to stabilize, and it did stabilize. It was getting really big at first, and then it slowed down. I don't think this one is going to stabilize at all. I think this one's going to continue to get bigger. But, you know, I know that the parish does have some efforts to manage that outfall area up there. I'm just trying to find out where we're at on that. And if that includes dredging some of those bayous for navigation and such, I think that could only be a good idea.
It can only come up once. But,
Came up already?
yeah,
What?
on this, yeah. Come ask one more question.
Do the parish get money from the state or the federal government to keep the man waterways open?
No.
No.
So what would the parish do to open these man waterways? Because y'all just letting them close. Y'all not doing anything to keep them open.
The only time we could get money is during the hurricane.
But we had many hurricanes and y'all don't got money from BP. So the man waterways should be clean. They should be opened up.
Excuse me, sir. Can you provide your name for the record?
Glendon Miller.
Mr. Roussel?
Yeah, the only way that type of situation could be addressed is through the coastal zone program, to where they could probably get some projects in the works. I don't know, Mr. Helmer working today?
He was at the office earlier today.
So, but he's not available?
No, I guess he's not.
We have a coastal manager, and those are questions that, you know, he should be addressing. Because, first of all, we don't get funding from anybody, the Corps of Engineers, the state, to maintain any waterways or channels. Those are all under the Corps' purview in the Mississippi River area. And I understand the problems that you have, but I would recommend that it be channeled through the coastal program to try to get money through those programs to be able to try to do maintenance dredging and beneficial use of that dredge material, things like that. But as far as the local government goes, we just don't have the funds to do that huge of a project. But we do have a coastal manager that should be addressing that. I don't know if that helps you any.
You done, Mr. Bartholomew?
Concerned about the pump stations. We're getting together a hurricane, and what's the status of the pump stations on the East Bank? They all are not running well, in a bad way.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Roussel?
we give you an update every Wednesday on the pump stations.
Yes, we have two pump stations that have temporary pumps.
Let the people know, them while they're here, they want to know. Well, we have an audience, just explain to them what's going on.
We have two pump stations that went down during Ida. Yes, we have one motor blow a rod to the end. We have a chain guard on Bellevue that makes the pump work. We got one running on that one, it's at 50%. Point LaHash is down to 0, it has pumps on it. Temporary pumps, we are removing the motor on the emergency basis to remove the motor from the north side of the pumping station to the south side and taking out that old motor that's been there to be able to get it going to relieve the pumps, the temporary pumps. They did start working on it last week. It'll take quite some time to try to get it going. So we should have that going within a month, hopefully. And then we got the other repairs that need to be done on a 20/90 basis to be able to get it fixed, where we got to put up the money to be able to complete the whole pumping station. We did get an engineering firm in to give us all the assessments on that. It's quite a bit of money, and we'll have to look at it.
What is the time frame that those pumps will be repaired? Before the hurricane season? We ain't, right now, I doubt it.
Well, hopefully West Point LaHash should be done within a month.
West Point LaHash?
I mean, East Point LaHash,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
And how many pumps will be working in the Point LaHash area?
One pump.
One pump, so we've had 50%.
Another motor for the other pump, yes, sir.
And Dave Ant?
Dave Ant, Bellevue.
Yeah.
Bellevue, we have one pump running there. The other one is a chain drive pump that is 50 years old. We're trying to find somebody to remake the chain. It's old, obsolete.
Yeah, we need a new motor then. That's what you
But
need.
no, not a motor, it's a chain drive on that one. It's the chain that drives the pump. The motor's running, it's the chain that drives the pump.
Well, the motor's 50 years old or the chain drive
Chain
50?
drive is 50 years old.
So that needs to be replaced.
Yes, sir. And as soon as we get a company to be able to refabricate a chain, it's not just like a regular chain on a bicycle. It's about 3 foot wide, and it's multiple lengths in one section. So it's pretty complicated and expensive. So we're looking into getting it fixed.
So we had 50% up there as
Yes,
well.
sir.
So we had 50% of the pumps from Phoenix to Bohemia.
Yes, sir.
And that one at Bellevue up there, that one there looked like it's about to go out. She's smoking pretty good. The one at Bellevue, the one pump, the motor, looked like it's smoking pretty good. Because every time I come around, she throwing the smoke out.
I'll check with Manuel on that.
I'm telling you
I
that,
don't
sir.
understand that it was running, but
It's running, but it's smoking. So when you see that, so it's not going to be too much further down the road that it's going to
yes,
blow.
sir. And we'll have to come to the board and get some more money for capital outlay to be able to fix some of those pumps, which will be pretty pricey. Yes, sir.
Mr. Roussel?
Yes, while we're on that pump station, I'm looking at this report. The Bell Chase one, is this accurate that it's at 75% capacity right now?
Yes, sir. We're waiting on the cooling valve to come in. It's a cooling valve off to the side. It's not nothing contained into the pump. It's just a valve that lets coolant water come in to cool the system. It's the valve we're waiting on to come in to be replaced.
And Bell Chase 2 is only at 33%?
Bell Chase 2 is 33. We got a vacuum valve that we ordered. The valve is in. We're waiting on some Swedlock fittings to come in to replace that. And Conhagen is working on the very north pump, number 1 pump. It's still in the shop since the storm. Yes, sir.
And the Medal of Honor Park pump is still 0?
Still 0, yes, sir.
And any plans to try to put it back online?
We're gonna try to get with the engineering firm. It's pretty pricey, and we'll look at it.
I've been hearing that for about 3 years now. We talked about putting a flexible line on it and on and on and on. But Another hurricane season comes and goes. Hopefully, we make it by. That's all I have.
Yes.
On the pump stations, I remember for after Hurricane Katrina, they had a meeting at like we call it the White House over in community in Belchase, and they were saying how they're gonna on the East Bank because everything was destroyed on this side of the river, and they said they're gonna rebuild our levees for us, and they're gonna build a pumping station on our side that it could withstand a Category 5, but they're gonna let the guys, the workers, stay there for Category 3 only, and they're gonna have a soundproof room, and the levee's gonna be built. What happened to our levee being built, and what happened to the pumping station? Did y'all know anything? That's before your time. We never got that. But Mr. Nungesser was our parish president at the time, and I heard all these good things. The money came in from the parish.
Well, I know they moved over $60 million from my district over here, and I don't know. That's what I heard back then.
For the pumping stations?
For the levees.
Oh, for the levees. But from Perla-Hash to Phoenix, where Katrina affected 100%, the levee don't even the grass don't be cut that often. So they never built nothing on the levee. And the levee from Phoenix to Breakaway, that levee wasn't damaged at all for Katrina. But this money was saying was what they allocated from Katrina. And like I said, before your time, it's supposed to put brand new levees. It's supposed to raise the levee up higher. But I noticed the levees can, but the levees went in dry places. So, and not only did it go in dry places, the levee was built high. The levees was put side on side the levee, grass that grass seed would have took the place of. They put sod on the levee and they put nice stone on the levee, made a decoration, and that most people use it for a nice running track. So we I say before your time, they said they're gonna have the levees, they're gonna have the pump. The levees came, they went in dry places. So that's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Can we go to 11A1?
(11A1), a resolution expressing Plaquemines Parish opposition to HB 1033, which provides for restrictions and requirements applicable to commercial menhaden catch, to provide for the duties and responsibilities of the Department of Wildlife, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer for suspension. Can I get a second? Second by Dr. Gouy. This is to back the Pogey plant against the new House bill to where they can only make so many sets in state waters. And we're voting on the suspension only right now. It passes 8-0. Let the record show Mr. Black left.
(11A1), a resolution expressing Plaquemines Parish opposition to HB 1033, which provides for the restrictions and requirements applicable to commercial menhaden catch, to provide for the duties and responsibilities of the Department of Wildlife, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer, ask for unanimous second.
Second.
Unanimous second. Like I said, this was to back the Pogey plant, which is probably the largest employer we have in the parish right now. So, any other questions?
Mr. Kognovich, can you clarify what this is actually all about? I mean, this is a suspension. We never had time to look at it, just broad.
A group brought up a House Bill 1033 to limit the number of sets the Pogey plant can make in state waters. Once they meet that quota, they have to go somewhere else. Any other questions, Mr. LaFrance?
Yes, this industry is barely keeping their head above water now. And if this bill goes through, it probably will be the end of this facility on the southern end of this parish. Speaking to some of the workers, am I on?
Yeah.
Speaking to some of the workers, they have to go farther out to make catches. And now, with the prices of diesel that's gone to $5 a gallon, I don't know how this industry is gonna survive, this plant.
Well, in my,
And after CCA, after they put the poke plant out of business, who else will be next?
trawlers,
Well,
oyster
trawlers,
fishermen.
the shrimpers. We the people on the southern end of the parish, we depend heavily upon our commercial fishermen, either directly or indirectly. They support our schools, our churches, our grocery stores, hardware, gas stations, marinas. I don't know, seems for some reason, every day when we get up, there's something always we have to deal with on the southern end. We have to deal with coastal restoration. We have to deal with elevation, the high cost of flood insurance, high river, you can't dig ditches, low river, we can't have the water intake, horrible roads, hurricanes, flooding, hurricane cleanup, repairs, rebuilding homes, dealing with FEMA, living in travel trailers. Some haven't even got travel trailers yet. The slow recovery. But anyway, what I'm saying is, a lot of things we have to deal with on the southern end of this parish. And the poultry plant is the biggest, the largest employer that we have on the southern end of the parish. They employ approximately 240 employees. So we have to get behind this industry, and we have to support our commercial fishermen. I yield.
Mr. Thomas?
Bobby Thomas, resident of Buras. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for bringing it up. Thank you, Councilman LaFrance, for all those quotes there. You stole a lot of my thunder. I'll bring up one number that Councilman LaFrance just happened to omit there, $550,000 a year in taxes that they pay. We don't have many left in this parish. We don't have many businesses left. This industry has been around since prior to the Second World War. It's one of 3 plants left in the United States, 2 in Louisiana, 1 in Abbeville, 1 in Empire. There's a 3rd one in Moss Point, Mississippi. 2,100 direct and indirect employment opportunities. So, and I think if we only got a third of that, it's 700, I think that's short. But thank you all very much for considering this. Of course, other industries are important in this parish, but this one we can't let go. And yes, they are the largest employer in the southern part of the parish. Pretty soon, they might be the largest employer in the parish. And I'm afraid the way things are going lately down here. So please consider supporting this opposition. We need the support on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Roussel?
Yes, I was at the Cambodian New Year celebration this past weekend, and I ran into several of the employees from the Manhattan facility, and they asked us to support this because they need to keep their industry going, and I will be supporting it, and I think it's important that people realize how important that industry is in the southern part of the parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Newberry.
Yeah, I think we all steal each other's thunder. I just want to show my support also, and I think it's so important that we continue to keep these jobs available to the lower end of the parish, because there is no other way of life down there. And for somebody to propose this kind of bill and not coming down here to look at the way of life that these people have down in the southern end is so important. And then, to back up the commercial, not sure the reason why they're doing this. I think what's the reason for this bill? Huh? Just to limit the catch, I
Because-
mean, for some reason.
Because the group wants to be the only ones to be able to fish.
Or is it about fishing? Is that what the HB is about?
Yeah.
Well, it's just a sad, House bill, so,
Of our opinion.
I highly support this, and, we need to continue to support, this plant that's so good to this parish, and it's been here a long time, and it's, I just thank you very much. I will be supporting it.
Mr. Henry?
Yes, who is the author of House Bill 1033, you know?
Don't know.
Oh,
And it has a,
All right. The author is State Representative Joseph Ogeron. And just as an update,
wait, oh, where you located at?
actually, he is new. He is, hold on. LaRose.
Wow,
oh, wait,
miles and miles from Blackham.
And just,
No.
just as an update, I just pulled it up. I'm not going to lobby you for y'all, but I'm down there a lot, and I've been hearing this. This bill passed the House yesterday, 75 yeas, 22 nays.
Oh,
Representative Garofalo voted yes. Representative Cormier voted no.
And let me
Now
say
it's
this.
headed to the Senate.
Put me on.
Ms. Newberry, you finished?
Joe?
You through? Mr. Roussel?
Yeah, Mr. Henry, the La Rose is a fishing community itself, but it's also a recreational fishing hub. And this battle goes between commercial fishermen and recreational.
recreation,
And that's what really is driving the train, is the recreational fishing industry. And, you know, it's very familiar to me because when they put the gill nets out of business, I happened to introduce legislation to put 1 million pounds of speckled trout in the commercial arena for rod and reel fishing industry that they said they were going to create after they put the gill netters out of business. I can't tell you how many threatening phone calls I had on the House floor from people all over the state from the recreational industry threatening me and my children. So it's a fierce group of individuals that go after commercial fishermen, and it's a war not based on locality. And these people, this rep is out of La Rose, which is in the middle of the bayou.
yeah.
So it's really not local. My point.
So, it passed the House?
Yes.
So what good is this legislation here?
Well, it's still got to go through, it's
Got to go to the Senate.
referred to the Senate now. Because it has to go, it has to pass the House, it has to pass Senate committee, Senate floor, and then it would go to the governor.
We need this industry in Plaquemine, we really do.
Yes, sir.
We really do.
Thank you. Mr. Blink?
Yeah, sure. So therein lies my question. Danny, what is the Senate bill going to be? Does it have a number just yet?
No, it's, in Louisiana, it's the same bill. It's House Bill 1033. It's the same bill. The process is, it went through House committee, went through Senate committee. There were some amendments at both locations. Yesterday, it passed the House floor, which now means it goes to the Senate. So it'll get referred to, I'm pretty sure, the Senate Natural Resources Committee. And then from there, it would go to the Senate floor. If it passes the Senate floor, it would go to the governor. Unless it gets amended, it might have to get tweaked, go to conference. But it's basically halfway through the process. But it got 75 votes on the House floor, which that's more than 2/3 of the House of Representatives.
Mr. LaFrance?
Yes, you know, it is really something how someone else from somewhere else in the state of Louisiana could try to dictate what we do down here in our own backyard. It is called fishing. It is not called catching. It is called fishing. And if you know how to fish, you go out there and you catch fish. It's not called catching. It's called fishing.
Well, I'm 60 years old, and the pogie plant was here before I was born, and I've caught fish.
And we still go out and catch fish.
And, you know, it's just a group of people that they want to be the only ones fishing, so.
Right. And it's big fish eat little fish, no matter what color the fish is.
That's right.
Thank you. Any other questions? Machines are open on the resolution. It passes 8-0. Can we go to 9-8-3?
9A3, an ordinance to make a technical amendment to correct a topographical error in the redistricting plan for the Plaquemines Parish Council and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer, ask for a second. Second by Mr. Roussel. You want to read the changes? Does it have changes or?
No, it literally, there was a one-letter typographical error in the description of the district. So now the plan is still the plan because we submitted electronically. But this just to clarify, it literally was one-letter typographical error.
Danny, can you
Thank-
say what letter it is? Because it's not indicated on here.
A?
There's an A.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It should have read 3-1, not 3-1A.
And with that, I'll offer, and Mr. Roussel, you second?
Yes.
Mr. Roussel seconds. Any questions? Machine's open. It passes 8-0. Can we start at the agenda again, Ms. Becknell?
Yes, sir. Agenda item 8, introduction of ordinances and resolutions. I have a few. The first are for Councilmember Konovich. An ordinance to establish polling places in Plaquemines Parish and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2022 Public Health Fund Operating Expenditure Budget Animal Control Department and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2022 Solid Waste Disposal Fund Operating Expenditure Budget Solid Waste District Number 1 Department and Solid Waste District 2 Department and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing the parish president on behalf of the Plaquemines Parish government to name and accept the proposal of the Plaquemines Gazette as the official journal for the Plaquemines Parish Council and all other political subdivisions and districts situated therein, of which the Plaquemines Parish Council is the governing authority, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The next is for Councilmember Bartholomew. An ordinance to amend the 2022 manpower and operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The next is for Councilmember Arbro. An ordinance to amend the 2022 Library Services Fund Operating Expenditure Budget, Libraries General Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The last is for Councilmember LaFrance. A resolution approving the placement of up to 30 FEMA units at 25108 Diamond Road, Port Sulphur, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And that is it.
Can we go to 9M, please?
Yeah.
M? M?
You read the pooling, right? Appropriation?
Yes.
That's what it
Yes,
was.
sir.
I thought that's what I heard.
Agenda item 9M, an
Yes.
ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, upgrade Port Sulphur Water Treatment Plant project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer, ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. LaFrance. This is to put money to fix the water plant in Port Sulphur, to put it out for bid. Any questions? Audience, administration, machines open. Passes 8-0. Thank you.
Where would you like to go to next, Council?
Go to the agenda.
Okay. Agenda item 9A1, an ordinance declaring a temporary housing need exists pursuant to subsection 6 of section 12 of the comprehensive zoning ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, enacting rules, regulations, and fees thereof, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember LaFrance.
I'll offer for
Yes.
discussion.
Mr. LaFrance offers for discussion. I'll second. Mr. LaFrance.
Yes. Mr. Beers, can you explain, I tried to get a zoning book, and I couldn't get one. Could you explain this?
Miss Amitra, you asked Miss Amitra for a zoning book? Because she can
Yes.
give you one. We have them. I mean, I'll make sure you get a zoning book. What the council previously adopted, anytime you going to put temporary RVs in certain places, you potentially would need to rezone your property. And what the council passed last time, it did away with that. In other words, it said, because we're going to be doing this on a temporary basis, you no longer have to rezone your property for certain properties south of St. Jude. So you don't have to go before the zoning board and all of that stuff. So that's just zoning alone. The issue now that we need to solve is what are the rules and regulations going to be for those trailers, for the RVs? And so is the council going to approve everyone? Is the administration going to approve them at a certain amount? To the extent we authorize multiple RVs, in other words, more than 2 on certain properties, is the council going to require them to do the same standards that you would otherwise have to do if you were to rezone your property and do a full-scale RV park? And so those are the things that need to be worked out through this ordinance.
Okay.
So, whenever, like I said, I know last time you tried to meet with me, I was on vacation, but Ms. Mitra and I are free to meet with anybody and go through what exactly it is as to how you all want these permits to be issued.
Because
Go ahead.
I thought we was voting just to let people have 2 spots on their property. And from what Amitra tells me, that you can have as many as you want.
No, that's not true. On certain properties, we're allowing 2, but the ordinance allows you to do more than 2. So currently, there are certain properties where we can do 2, and the administration can just do that. You all don't have to give authority for that. But if certain applicants come and say, we want more than 2 because my property is really big and because I can put the infrastructure in and I'm willing to put the infrastructure in, if an applicant comes and says that that's what they want to do, then the administration wants to make sure, does the council want to approve that? Do you want to give us authority to do it for a minimum amount of time? And do you want them to put in all of the infrastructure they would otherwise have to put in if they were to rezone their property and have it full-time versus temporary? So that's what we need to iron out.
Because like I said, I was under the impression that we was given 2 lots and that was it. And
Well-
if you wanted to put 100 on your property, you'd have to go through the regular permitting of rezoning your property and.
No, I mean, I think the ordinance that was adopted allows for more than 2 if you also want. The question, and under a temporary basis. And then the question is, do y'all want to do that? And if you don't want to do it, then we would write an ordinance that says no more than 2 trailers, no more than temporary RVs are allowed on any parcel in the parish, period. And if that's what the rule is going to be, well, then that can be the rule. But it left open the possibility for larger facilities, and you all have to decide if you want to do that or not, and if so, what is the process by which y'all do that?
Thank you,
So this ordinance is just to give us permission to go and do the rules and the regulations?
Correct. So, right, so if you have your property rezoned MH, or MH, or whatever the proper zoning is to do RVs on it, then you would have your property rezoned, and then you would go to Ms. Amitra and you would submit her a plan. And you would say, my property is this size, I can fit this many spaces, blah, blah, blah. And then Ms. Amitra is going to work with the applicant and say, okay, well, if that's the case, you're going to need a turnaround, you're going to need a certain size water line, you're going to need, all the normal things we do. And so the question for you all is, to the extent if y'all want to authorize larger facilities, do y'all want to make them do all the same things or not? And the other thing is, this ordinance is actually declaring that the temporary housing need exists. We haven't done that yet. The old ordinance didn't do that. It just said you don't have to rezone your property. So this will actually declare that a need exists, and that will start the 3-year clock upon which these temporary permits would be issued. The other thing is, there's probably slightly more concerns we have about temporary RVs. FEMA says that these things are supposed to move, et cetera. And so we need to sit down with y'all and say, because quite frankly, I think it's going to require a little extra burden on our part. And so we would need to probably hire somebody to do regular inspections on this. And I think we also may want to establish like a certain fee to basically give us enough revenue to have an inspector go out and do this. Because FEMA will look at our records and they will want to know, were these things moved? You know, was this quote unquote temporary RV here for more than 3 years, you know, or whatever it may be. And so we're going to have to keep pretty clean records so that we can justify to FEMA why these RVs are where they are, and that we've been complying with the National Flood Insurance Program regulations, and then that way we don't get in trouble.
Mr. Roussel?
Yeah, so the confusion comes from when I think people call Ms. Mitra's office, and she tells him that, well, they can put up to 100 now, or something like that. So that's not the case?
So you're saying people are calling Mr.
No, no.
They've told me they want 200 lots, and Amitra said they could put it if we vote for this.
Correct. The council can authorize, just like you would do on a permanent one. The council has to authorize what it wants to do in terms of the size of these parks. And if an applicant has, 300 acres of property and you guys authorize it, then there's nothing that would be illegal about that. But that developer would have to understand that they would be putting in a facility that may only be guaranteed for 3 years. But if you guys don't want to allow for that, if you want to limit it to 10 or even 2, that's your prerogative. You can do that.
Because with this new stuff, they don't have to rezone their property.
Correct. That they don't have to rezone their property.
So would it be best to defer this and come up with the rules and regulations before we pass this?
Oh, yes, sir, because that's the whole point of this ordinance. This was introduced, I'd have to go back because I think we introduced this several months ago to say, hey, we're going to put a placeholder in, because at the time we were acting very fast and we wanted to get something done quick. And, we haven't been able to meet since then. But this is a placeholder to declare the housing need exists and say what the rules and regulations are going to be. And so, if in the next 2 weeks you want to get with me and Amitra and look, and Mr. LaFrance, some other council members have called me and said, I got concerns, I got issues, I want to be involved.
Right.
I would recommend you consult with at least 4 of your colleagues and come meet with us, and then we can all sit down and make sure that what you guys want is what gets adopted.
Can we set up a meeting for Tuesday? Are you open for Tuesday
In the afternoon,
afternoon?
in Port Sulphur.
Yeah, I mean, I'll meet you guys in Port Sulphur. I believe, Tuesday I'm available. I do have a doctor's appointment from 11:30 to 12:30,
Yeah.
but other than that, I'm free.
4 o'clock, Port Sulphur.
What time?
4.
In Port Sulphur? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if
All right.
Sound good to me.
And this really pertains to the area of St. Jude South.
correct, the ordinance you all passed.
So those are the council members that really need to be involved.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, some of you might have reservations, about letting 500 trailer parks go, no matter where you live in the parish. But, I mean, that's up to y'all, whatever you guys want to do or whoever y'all want to be involved. But yeah, you're right. St. Jude South is where this is primarily affected. And I think the East Bank as well, right? Didn't we allow for it in the East Bank?
Yes.
Oh, no, the East Bank's a full, yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at the
I think you
ordinance.
did.
Okay.
You done? Ms. New?
So we'll defer this?
So, yeah, you can defer this, Tuesday at 4, we can meet. I'm pretty sure Miss Amitra will be available. I mean, I don't know if she's got doctor's appointments or maybe on vacation, but I'll consult with her and get back with you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Can we go back to 11D1?
11D1, discussion by Keelan Williams about grant money to assist fishermen in Plaquemines Parish.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
My name is Keelan Williams. I live at 16537 Highway 15, Davant, Louisiana. I'm a member of the Atapaka Ishak Chayawasha that Leander Perez recognized as a Native American tribe back in the 70s in the parish charter. There's GRRDC 2001, if you guys want to write it down, it's GRRDC 2001, GRRDC 2002. It's Restore Act money that came from BP. The money is already there. All the parish has to do is apply for the money. We want to give $50,000 to 200 fishermen on the East Bank so they can have boats, fuel, and supplies like the fishermen on the West Bank. The grant money is, like I said, it's Department of Treasury. It's Restore Act money from BP. I can't apply for it. The Department of Justice and the Department of Labor has emails I've sent to them and to each one of you council members to monitor, to make sure that these people get this money. In Mississippi, they use that money and give it to the fishermen. They build docks. They build infrastructure for the fishermen. They give out grants to the fishermen for equipment, supplies, boats. Alabama's doing the same thing. Plaquemines Parish has not touched the money once, from what I understand, and it's been there since 2020. The deadline to apply for this money is June 30th, 2022, and the Department of Treasury has coached my wife and I on how to apply for it. So we've already applied under my name, but I couldn't get it. So it has to be from the Coastal Protection Restoration Authority or you guys, Economic Development Department. It has to be a local parish entity that applies for the money. A local business can, a local person can't. But you are guaranteed to get the money. We can build, there's two grants. One is for infrastructure and one is not. It's just to promote Louisiana seafood, help local fishermen. And each grant is $84 million. We're just asking for $10 million. The U.S. government just gave $14 billion to Ukrainians that none of us know. Two Vladimirs, both fighting against each other. Both of them speak Russian.
What that has to do with this, man? Because I support the Ukrainians.
Well, that's your business. I support Plaquemines Parish. I was just saying that they're giving all kind of money to foreigners, and they got these poor people here that been here, their parents, their grandparents buried in the ground. How many Ukrainians you know buried in this ground? None. You know, I know 4 and 5 generations buried in this ground. So that's why I don't support two Vladimirs fighting against each other with the same language. So I'm getting back to the grants. You guys have to apply for it. We will sue you guys if you don't, because the money's already there. All it is economic development has to apply for it. The poor fishermen from the East Bank deserve this money. It's no oysters left. They don't have any shrimp boats. They can't go to the banks to ask for money. You know how it is with blacks asking for money. They are American citizens. Some of them parents fought in Vietnam, Korea, and against Hitler. Their grandparents and great-grandparents. They deserve the money. You know where the grant is. Ask Mr. Bartholomew. The Justice Department sent back, and the Labor Department sent back receipts showing that they're monitoring it. And every email, so y'all already got it. The deadline is June 30th, 2022. Economic development just has to apply.
Dr. Gouy?
There needs to be a person that you speak with. So I'm going to ask the administration, who would be the appropriate person for him to speak with?
Mr. Helmers runs the, we also have some consultants that manage the Restore Act, but Mr. Helmers would be the person that we would need to speak to and find out. So we'll relay the message to him, get your information from Mr. Bartholomew, and...
So we got Mr. Billy Nungesser, the Lieutenant Governor, the Governor, the Chip Klein, he's over Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, and Billy Nungesser wants to come and film himself because he's running for governor, helping apply for the grant, which will be in his commercial for governor helping black fishermen for the Republican Party, which I'm a part of, to help black fishermen and reach out to the blacks instead of just giving their votes to Democrats, filling this country up with foreigners.
As I said, please get with Mr. Helmers, because this is an opportunity. This is first I've heard of it. Get with Mr. Helmers and follow through. I think And go ahead and get that from John. John will get you all that, but don't let it slide because June 22nd is around the corner.
Right. So
And you got all the prep work done, so.
we got the plan done too. All we need to do is apply for it. We did the business plan already. The numbers add up. It's 10.5 million. We building the only African-American owned commercial fishing processing plant on the East Bank with some of that money because there's none in the country. We plan on promoting Louisiana seafood to blacks around the country that normally get seafood from China and places that have sick seafood. So we promoting American products also.
Thank you. Now, just get with Mr. Bartholomew and he'll give you.
Mr. Helmut, I'm gonna give you the number, write it down. Go ahead, I'm gonna give it to you.
Go back to the agenda, please.
Agenda item 9A2, an ordinance enacting.
Corey here, or you left?
Oh, we're going to defer that.
Defer it.
We have another introduction that just came in. Can we go back to introduction?
Yes, ma'am.
Agenda item 8, introduction of ordinances and resolutions, is for Councilmember Blank. An ordinance to name a certain body of water on the east bank of the Mississippi River that connects to the Mississippi River as Quarantine Bay Avulsion Pass and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Blank. Agenda item 9A4, an ordinance to amend and amended to readopt Section 4 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as amended, and the Comprehensive Zoning District Map therein adopted by reference and which is paraph thereto, with reference to application number 2022-488 dated March 2nd,
That's the trailer
2022.
park.
Councilmember LaFrance.
That's the trailer park from them guys from Baton Rouge. That's LaFrance.
I'll offer for discussion.
Mr. LaFrance offers for discussion. I'll second. Mr. LaFrance?
Yes. Anyone from here?
Not bad.
This is Plaquemine Ventures.
Billwood Smith, 11745 Brixham Avenue, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70810. Good afternoon, Councilman. I am here representing a zoning change for property located at 26554 Highway 23, Port Sulphur, from A2 to MH for a very nice RV campground. So I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, but I've spent my whole life in Plaquemines Parish hunting and fishing. We had a camp in Port Eads from 1977 until Hurricane Katrina. We then bought an RV and put it on land in Venice that we've owned since 2002. We now have a camp in Pasolutri and have since 2008. RV Parks is our full-time job and has been for the last 8 years. We've designed and constructed 2 very nice campgrounds, one in Opelousas and one in Lake Charles that you see pictured here. And here you can really see the difference between what we build in RV parks and what most see as trailer parks. They're very well-maintained, landscaped, upscale campgrounds. We don't allow tarps on roofs, junk cars, anything like that. We have a very experienced staff. We offer excellent customer service, maintenance, repairs when needed. We have 3 staff members that are certified outdoor hospitality managers. That is training done in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina through the National Association of RV Parks and Campgrounds. The campground in Lake Charles is a KOA franchise. KOA is the largest brand name in camping. They are on the cutting edge of the industry with the latest research and development. We have the Southwest Territory of Louisiana for Campgrounds of America. We have 4 staff members that have done training in Billings, Montana, 10-day training called KOA University. The design of this proposed campground is 23 large sites under beautiful live oak trees. The site plan that you guys have been modified a little bit to reflect a 30-foot turning radius and sites angled at 60 degrees for optimal use. These sites are 30 feet wide and 110 feet long, which are very large for RV sites. We plan to retain all trees possible. RVs love shade. These are limestone sites with concrete patios. We're working with Mr. Jay Dufresne of Dufresne Engineering in Harvey for construction plans. We will meet and exceed all parish requirements for construction and design, and the Plaquemines Parish Development Board has recommended this for approval. So one thing we do a little different in RV sites here is,
See what I'm saying?
these are called patio sites. They've been incredibly popular throughout the KOA system. That's what we intend to build here in Port Sulphur. And you can really see the difference here between, most RV campgrounds as well as trailer parks. Very upscale. Patio furniture, barbecue pits, picnic tables. The patios feature hard surfacing such as concrete. They're very landscaped and well maintained. All sites are full hookup, 20, 30, 50 amp electric, lighted pedestals, water and sewer hookups. We also plan to have an on-site manager live in the campground. They're going to help with day-to-day guest needs, as well as be the eyes and ears of the park. Regarding requirements for guests that we require from each guest, they fill out an application. They then sign and accept our extensive rules and regulations that are strictly enforced. We get a copy of their driver's license. We don't allow sex offenders, and we run a very tight ship at all of our properties. This particular site is a great site for an RV park. It's close to Freeman's grocery store. It's close to gas station, Dollar General, post office, hospital, multiple banks, school. It's easy on and off of Highway 23. It's close to multiple area boat launches and world-class fishing. And both neighboring properties are undeveloped. So I have some pictures here. This bottom picture here is the site. You can see the neighboring properties.
Nothing will be held up in terms of the refunding. He just can't do it. So I mean, I would just recommend it. If he introduces that, that's going to cause problem with the refunding. Y'all are going to screw up the refunding. So
I know.
And if you guys have the same packet that they had at the zoning board meeting, you can see in page 8 of your packet, there's an aerial view of the property showing neighboring tracts that are undeveloped. So our goal is to bring business to the lower end of Plaquemines Parish and offer a solution to the housing problem that exists due to the elevation requirements. So in the event of a hurricane, all RVs are required to evacuate. The great thing about RVs is they have wheels and they're towed by ordinary vehicles, so moving them is very easy. Our motto at our campgrounds is that guests can stay as long as they want, but they have to look like they can leave tomorrow. Some Port Sulphur population statistics gathered from citydata.com and worldpopulationreview.com. The 2020 population of Port Sulphur is 1,789 people. That is a decline of 44% since 2000 and growth of only 1% since 2010. This is proof that the area needs growth. For comparison, Bellchase has a 2020 population of about 14,000. That's 29% growth since 2000 and 11% growth since 2010. This campground will bring revenue to local businesses and people. The LNG workers in the area, the industrial workers, have disposable income to spend at local businesses such as grocery stores, restaurants, marinas, as well as recreational activities such as charter fishing, bow fishing, eco tours, etc. There's been a lot of talk about the need for RV parks in Plaquemines Parish in both this meeting and previous meetings. There's been an ordinance introduced to amend Section 12, number 142 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance regarding the issuance of temporary permits for RV parks, RV sites, and other temporary housing units in any zoning district and temporarily suspend map change requirements, which was mentioned earlier. As well as there's been an ordinance declaring a temporary housing need exists pursuant to subsection 6 of Section 12 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. So the reason that we've applied for rezoning on this property is so we can spend more money on the development and provide a superior product that will be an asset to the community and won't have to be removed after 3 years or X number of years, whatever that term may be, for those temporary parks. Once this construction boom is over, this will be a fantastic option for sportsmen staying in the area like myself that's been coming here my whole life. Regarding the construction workers, another point to consider is that many of these workers bring their spouses and families with them, and they need a quality product. They need a quality RV campground and not just a gravel parking lot. Like I mentioned, the Plaquemines Parish Development Board on April 5th recommended this for approval. We have met with Councilman LaFrance to address any questions and concerns of the members of his district. And we ask for your support and approval of this RV campground and look forward to providing an asset to the community and the lower end of Plaquemines Parish, as well as offer a solution to the housing problem that exists.
Thank you, Mr. Blank.
Oh, sure. What is the property currently zoned?
A2, as most of the land down there is.
Right. Thank you.
Any other, Ms. Newberry?
Yes, sir. What is your name again?
Bill Wood Smith.
Bill, thank you so much for your presentation. It's impressive, but we all know that's not what it's going to be. We all know that it's for workers, and we do need that. We need people like you to bring those in. Now, is this the prime location? I don't know. We have gotten numerous feedback on this against it through emails. I don't know if it's going to pass today. My suggestion is if it doesn't pass today or if it gets deferred, that you take advantage of the 3 years and show that y'all can be good neighbors. And then you may have that opportunity. I don't know, but I just wanted to express that. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. LaFrance?
Yes, I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Bill Woods, and I spoke to him and his father. What he presented was a real nice layout. However, I told him that I wasn't the one that he had to convince. I told him he would have to convince the people in the community. And many of y'all received concerns from the people who living around that neighborhood. We received opposition, that's the word I'm looking for, from the Freemans, the Capellas, Mr. Irvin Danette, Rodney Bartholomew, Glenn Ballet. They were all in opposition of this. So with this, I can't support it because my constituents didn't want it. So with that, I'll move so if we could take a vote on it, so we can get that done on the record.
I was introduced for discussion, but.
I know, so I'll introduce, I'll
Can you-
make a motion.
Do you want to defer it and get with him and the people, or?
Can I comment?
No,
Yep. It's,
we'll move on it.
it's up to him to move on it, but,
Can I just make a general comment?
yep.
So we've made numerous efforts to address any concerns, and all concerns that we've heard is simply just not in my backyard. We don't want you because we live right over there, which is interesting because numerous concerns are from folks that live in Bellchase who may own property in the area, but they don't reside there. So that's typical in the development business, not in my backyard. There's obviously no growth without development. And in other parishes, we fight, legitimate concerns such as traffic, flooding, the school being inundated, et cetera. Whereas all of our concerns here have just been simply, we don't want you to do it there. So I would like that to be noted.
The people who I spoke to, Vicky Capella, Glenn Ballet, Irvin Dinette, those people live around that area. Matter of fact, that yellow trailer you're looking at, that's Mr. Dinette property there. And again, I'm not I'm not gonna, support this because my constituents don't want it. So let's move, to take a vote on it.
You'd like to offer?
I'll offer.
Mr. LaFrance offers there a second? Second by Mr. Blink. Any other questions? Audience? Machines open. And it fails 7-0. Let the record show Mr. Arborough left.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So how do we intend to house all of these workers, bringing all this revenue to the area, if someone like myself, who's a professional in the industry, and is going to offer a premier product compared to anyone else, and it's going to get a unanimous denial?
Find a piece of property you don't have to rezone.
Careful what you wish for.
I think that when you're buying property down there, and I understand your position, but I just think that before you buy property, I think you need to speak to the neighbors. I've kind of had a similar situation in my district and expressed my thoughts and the thoughts of surrounding neighbors, and he backed out the deal of buying the property. I think you need to take advantage of Mr. LaFrance's ordinance once we get the rules and regulations voted on, and show the surrounding people that you have, which you presented us, that you are going to present a nice park, and maybe in 3 years you can come back and prove us wrong and move forward that direction.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 9A5, an ordinance establishing a temporary moratorium on new subdivisions and
Withdraw.
9B, a resolution authorizing and directing the parish president to provide a list of all contractors hired by Plaquemines Parish government to handle Hurricane Ida debris removal, a description of the work that was done.
Withdraw. They sent that info. I have that information.
9C,
No, I don't have that.
9C, a resolution authorizing and directing the
But
parish.
defer, that's the one for the state? Yes. Yeah, we're deferring that because they didn't get back to me on that one.
Gonna defer 9D.
9D, third. 9E, a resolution asking the Louisiana legislature to oppose any legislation that would eliminate or limit a local governing authority's ability to collect inventory tax and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Mr. Bartholomew's offers there a second? Second by Mr. Roussel. Mr. Bartholomew has read. Any questions? Machines open. Ms. Newberry? It passes 7-0.
Agenda item 9F, an ordinance establishing the policy of for Plaquemines Parish government in regard to the mandatory terms to be included in all parish contracts for professional and other services and all contracts that extend beyond a single fiscal year, establishing the policy for the Plaquemines Parish government in regard to submitting all signed contracts to the council secretary within 2 weeks of the document being executed, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Rousseau.
I'm going to offer it with one change for the purpose of discussion, and I was hoping to engage the administration in this debate. But on line 35, where it says services that are for a term of 1 year or less, it should be reading 1 year or more. So replace less with more.
What line item?
On line number 35. And with that, I'll offer to ask for a second, and we'll defer it to.
They're offering for discussion, or?
Yeah, I'm offering it for this, with that change for discussion.
Mr. Roussel offers with for discussion only. I'll second. You want to defer this?
Yeah, I mean, without the administration here, we're gonna go circles, because he
Yeah.
deferred it last time, and we want to try to come to some kind of consensus on it.
All right.
Defer the item.
Items deferred.
Item 9G, an ordinance to enact Section 4, subsection C, paragraph 2, subparagraph H of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Mr. Bartholomew, you offer?
Yes.
Mr. Bartholomew offers, there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. LaFrance. Mr. Bartholomew?
That's 9G?
Yes, G.
We have ourselves.
Yeah, we are.
Alfred, I'd like to call for, I don't have any questions. As read.
As read?
That's the one with the Breakaway Park thing, we're trying to accommodate those people from the hurricane.
All right, is there any questions? Machines are open. Passes 7-0.
Agenda item 9H, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4, subsection 4-7 to provide for the prohibitions on licensed premises and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer, ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Dr. Gouy. This is an ordinance lowering the decimal between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. for all alcohol permits. Any questions? Machines are open. Passes 7-0.
Agenda item 9I, an ordinance to rescind, annul, and set aside ordinance number 20-24 adopted on February 27, 2020, which amended the 5-year capital improvements plan for the replacement Pointe-a-la-Hache Ferry Landing project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer, ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. LaFrance. Any questions?
This puts the, do we
Money.
know where this puts the money back into?
Into the courthouse fund.
Does it go back there, or does it go to the general fund?
Courthouse fund, because it's going to pay down the loan, the bond.
This is only,
We could defer it.
well, wait, look at number I.
This is the one that had to be done because the ferry was transferred to the port. This is the one we're rescinding.
That's the one you're rescinding now.
Yes.
And we need to put it to the port. That has been transferred to the port already?
Yes, we did that at this meeting,
We just did that, transferred the money, it's to the port.
to the port, correct.
Now we're
Now
rescinding this one.
Rescinding it for the government.
Okay.
The government no longer has the ferries.
Right, but this says it's 142,000 for the engineering of the replacement of both the East and West Bank ferry landings that we put up the local share. My only question was, where does it go back to?
Well, it should be going back to the port. We put it already in the port pot.
No, we took this out of the courthouse fund?
Well, we could defer it. Mr. Bureau said we could defer all the ones.
Well, yeah, to get a clarification, I just want to know where the money is going back to, because I know, we already moved the federal money, or the authority.
But you already moved, didn't we already move this money? Why not?
I mean, we, in the legislation for the port, it was approving, giving them the authority to seek the funds that they needed for it. I don't know the ins and outs of how that's.
Well, this money, that's different. That's money that's been appropriated already.
Yes, this.
That hasn't been.
Yeah, it's not the
All right.
courthouse stuff. No.
That hasn't been done. We need to do that.
Well,
Well, at the end of the day, it's going to go back to where it belongs, but can we get an answer if do you not want to move forward with it? I mean.
Well, I just want to know where the money is going back to, that's
Right.
all.
If y'all had that, might.
It goes back into the general fund, and it came out of the courthouse fund.
Or we could
Can't go
defer it.
back to the general fund if it came out the courthouse fund, because it's not being used.
Because we still have to vote to put it back in, is that right?
But to put it in different posture.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, take
It has to go back to the same place it came from, bottom
Yeah,
line.
but the idea is that it's for the ferry ramps that's being built, and the ferry ramps are being built through the port, not the parish government.
Still don't answer.
Still don't answer.
I think this, Cameron, correct me, the original ordinance 2024 reallocated money from the courthouse fund to the,
This ordinance, as far as I remember, and I'm glancing over it now, doesn't make mention of anything. I mean, maybe the money did come from the courthouse
Set aside
fund,
for-
but nothing in here mentions that, so I'm not.
So it doesn't reference where it went from.
No.
Cut.
You need to pull ordinance 20.
Because if you rescind, then it goes back, then if you rescind that ordinance, then what you're essentially going to you're going back to the circumstance when the ordinance was adopted.
All right.
Do y'all want me to hurry up and try to find it on laser?
We can catch the ferry in 25 minutes.
You want to defer it?
No, we can go ahead with it. I just,
All right.
Well, defer it?
No?
Yeah, Kim, can you send the council on where it's going back to?
Okay. This, per instructions from engineering, so I'm just letting you know that's where it came from. It has to be done simultaneously at
All right.
the same meeting
Well.
that the port was done.
Machines open. Dr. Bowie? Passes 7-0.
Agenda item 9J was deferred. 9K, in order to amend the 2022 Manpower Structure and Operating Expenditure Budget, Public Health Fund, Animal Control Department, otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Konovich, and this has changes.
Can you read the changes?
Yes, sir. On line 21, where it says Engineering and Public Works, strike that out and add Animal Control Department, and that is it.
And with that all off, I ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Dr. Bowie. Any questions?
Yeah, did he quit on us?
New
New
position.
position?
Got a question.
To help
Dr. Bowie?
the guy?
The number right on line 21?
That's the only changes we received from finance. And
That's probably the rest of the year versus the job position.
Okay,
That's what I thought when I read it.
yeah, okay.
Anyway, that's what I thought.
Any other questions? Machines open.
On the person.
Passes 7-0.
Agenda item 9L, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a donation for the Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness Department and to amend the General Fund 2022 operating revenue and expenditure budgets, Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer ask for a second. Second by Mr. LaFrance. This is money donated from Venture Global to the Homeland Security.
Right, and I have the same question Dr. Gui had on the last one. The numbers are only off by a little bit. It looks like they just rounded up.
Yeah.
That's what they normally do, finance.
I don't know about rounding up.
Well, we could change to read 44,326.80.
Offer with that change?
Offer with that change. Mr. LaFrance, you second? Second. Any other questions? Machines open. Passes 7-0.
Agenda item 9N, an ordinance to amend the 2022 five-year capital improvements plan, various projects, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer ask for a second.
Let me ask you, well, wait till you get a second.
Ask for a second. Second by Ms. Newberry. Any questions?
Yeah, they're amending just project numbers? I don't understand, I didn't understand that. Like
Wouldn't-
unfunding the remaining balances for the following projects, we don't have any numbers to know what the balances are.
We could defer it.
And I would say we need to know where those unfunded balances are going.
Yeah, and what it is.
Yeah, then we have to have a port thing to accept the money.
Where is it coming from?
Was money getting put back in? and
Where?
From the budget, but
Oh.
we deferring it until they could be here to answer a question.
We don't know how much.
Next item.
Agenda item 9O, a resolution to rescind, annul, and set aside resolution number 18-290 adopted on September 27, 2018, authorizing the parish president to enter any and all state entity agreements between Plaquemines Parish Government and Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development and/or Federal Highway Administration, which are or will be necessary to secure state and federal funding for ongoing transportation-related projects and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Konovich.
I'll offer as for a second. Second by Dr. Gui. This is given the port, yes. Any other questions? Machine's open. It passes 7-0.
9P, an ordinance to amend the five-year capital improvements plan replacement Point of La Hash Ferry Landing Project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Mr. Bartholomew, you offer?
Offer, but I'm not voting for it.
Councilmember Bartholomew, there's blanks that we've never received.
No, that's deferred, I'm sorry. That one is deferred. Because we haven't received it yet from the state.
9Q, an ordinance to amend the 2022 five-year capital improvements plan various projects and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Mr. Bartholomew?
That's Q?
Yes, sir.
Q.
Same thing.
Defer.
Which one is that for the,
Well, it doesn't have any money. We don't know what the number.
Courthouse General Fund, Finance Administration, Construction, but it don't say anything.
that's got, they've got the money left out, it's still in the budget for the capital outlay?
It was supposed to go back to paying the bond,
Yeah, but no, we need to,
defer
I
it.
don't want to vote for this because we still have projects that we hadn't finished with the ramps that hadn't been completed yet. We don't know what it's going to cost us.
Well, we have the grants or the bond that paid for the courthouse. The port owns the ramps now, and they said we can't use that money for it,
What?
for the ramps,
Why we can't?
'cause the port owns the ramps.
Well, this is the thing, we just have to change it.
Defer it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Unfunding it, the money has to be appropriated to the.
Yeah, we have to do that next.
But they,
Huh?
that's what they told me. It was supposed to go to paying down the bond, that we couldn't use it for the porch ramps.
That's not the port ramp, that's the Plaquemines Parish ramp.
It's the Port of Plaquemines ramp, but
That doesn't even make sense.
They don't have any money in it to begin with. It's just numbers, so.
Huh?
you want to defer it? They don't have numbers or anything.
Yeah, defer it, because I'm not doing that. Because we're gonna get short on the short end when there's gonna be time to come up with the money. Danny, can you look into that, see if we got to transfer that money to the port?
Next item.
It was transferred.
9R, an ordinance authorizing the execution and extension to the lease of Lot B, Port Eads, for a period of 20 years pursuant to the provisions of LARS 41:1217, the leasee having met the requirements of law and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Bartholomew.
I'd like to offer discussion.
Mr.
Anybody
Bartholomew,
else?
he offers for discussion as a second. Second by Dr. Gui.
Anybody have
Mr.
any
Bartholomew?
discussion at the table?
How much a year again? Same price? $250 a year or something?
200.
What it is? I guess it's the same amount you've been paying, they've been
It's not
paying.
listed in the legislation. Just says they put 20,000 of investment in it, whatever the money was.
For 20 years.
It's in the lease agreement.
All they want another additional 20 years, I don't know if it's at that same price. It's 20,000, that's for the whole 20 years?
No, that's
No,
what he
it's-
invested.
That's what he invested. I think it's 200 a year.
Y'all want to defer it?
Defer it. Mr. Blink?
Oh, never mind.
Go ahead, Mr. Blam, sorry, go ahead. Say what you want.
You know, when there's leases like this, is it very difficult to tie them to the CPI? You know, for instance, there's the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, right? If you drive over the bridge, the toll's 40 cents today. If there's, you know, a few percentage points of inflation over the years, the toll is going to go up. Things cost more. It costs more to operate the government. I mean, is there a provision to put in the CPI to where over the years, the lease would reflect the value of a dollar?
Well, you could make that instead of having the lease amount be a certain amount per year, you could have it in year one, it's X, and then in year two, it's X plus this, And you could build that into the rental if that's, there's,
But
it's
let me
not
say
an
this,
uncommon thing. in
that's all
commercial.
what is. Right now, he has a lease that's probably got 10 years left on it, or whatever, how many
Right.
years he's got left on it. He's just trying to get an extra 20 out of it, out of the existing lease.
He had a lease done in 2002. And in that lease, according to the lease, we can give him an additional 10 years with $10,000 of improvements, up to $20,000 in 2 years. So what it is following the lease that's in his lease agreement, if we want to follow that. If we don't, if we want to do the increase, whatever, I think we'd have to do a new lease.
You'd have to you'd have to do a new lease, because this extension is is based upon a term in the existing lease, correct?
That's my point.
Yeah. You'd have to do a new lease if you wanted to change the method of compensation.
But you have to bring information to validate that, right?
Yes.
Well, let's move.
Deferred.
Yeah.
Next item.
9S, a resolution to amend and as amended readopt resolution number 22-80, waiving the building permit fees for renovations and reconstruction necessitated by Hurricane Ida, otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Mr. Bartholomew offers, I'll second. Is there any questions? Machines are open. Mr. Bartholomew?
Good job, Joe.
Mr. Bartholomew?
Sorry.
Press yes.
Yeah, all right.
Passes 7-0.
9T, a resolution authorizing and directing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to negotiate, execute, perfect, and enforce any and all documents required to expend any allocated FEMA hazard mitigation funds from Hurricane Ida for home elevations and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember LaFrance.
Mr. LaFrance, you offer.
With the changes?
Can you read the changes?
He didn't receive any.
Yeah, the one we just wrote it in.
He handed them out. Y'all made a copy earlier.
That was for the suspension.
Yeah, but it's on here.
To facilitate.
We added the community share.
Me too.
Mr.
He
LaFrance,
offered it
you.
with this change on line
I'll just get
23, in the communities of Braithwaite, Ironton, and West Point, LaHash.
Not this week, I'm telling you.
Not so often.
With that, you offer, and I'll second. Any questions?
I'll call you.
Machines are open.
Okay.
Braithwaite, Ironton, and West.
Mr. Bartholomew?
Who else?
Mr. Bartholomew?
Yeah.
That's who.
I'll let them do it.
Yes, okay.
If that's
It
all.
passes 7-0.
Now we're just gonna pay it.
9U is deferred. Item 10, approval of the minutes from the April 14th, 2022 regular meeting.
Dr. Gui offers, I'll second. Any questions? Machines are open. Passes 7-0.
Second.
Oh, wait, you got your suspension.
Oh, my suspension, excuse me. Would you?
You can defer.
I'll withdraw that motion.
One more suspension? Have that?
Mr. Roussel suspension.
Agenda item 11A, introduction of resolution where suspension is being sought. A resolution expressing Plaquemines Parish support for HCR 41, which urges and requests the legislative auditor to review the Bell Chase Bridge and Tunnel public-private partnership project and, if applicable, to develop recommendations for future public-private partnership projects based on best practices and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Roussel.
I seek a suspension to take that item up at today's agenda for consideration.
Mr. Roussel offers, I'll second. Any questions? Ms. Newberry?
Oh, I'm sorry, my chip did that.
Machines are open on the suspension. Passes 7-0.
A resolution expressing Plaquemines Parish's support of HCR 41, which urges and requests the legislative auditor review the Bell Chase Bridge and Tunnel public-private partnership project, and if applicable, to develop recommendations for future public-private partnership projects based on best practices and otherwise provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Roussel.
So offer.
Mr. Roussel offers, I'll second.
Yes, what this is, just briefly, is that Senator Connick has introduced legislation in this session to put this before the state legislative auditor, and we've met with the state legislative auditor in the process of this, and we're supporting the legislation.
Any questions? Machines open. Passes 7-0. Does anybody need to go for their district updates?
I'll defer on mine.
They're all deferred.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Offer.
Motion by Newberry, second by LaFrance. Machines open.
We have 8 minutes to the ferry.
It passes 7-0. Let the record show council meeting adjourned at 6:50.